now available in paperback and e-readers. A steam horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this action-packed, all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. One of my viewers wanted me to talk about how to avoid scammers in the independent illustrator community. Now, as a comic creator and a publisher who has worked with comic artists, I know that you have to be very careful when you're doing business out here with comic artists, and you have to make sure that you cover everything in order to avoid getting scammed by an artist. Now, the viewer tells me that they were attempting to do a project with a comic artist who had a Japanese name, but he soon found out that this guy who had a Japanese name, who he was working with from overseas, was actually a Nigerian, and this Nigerian did several things that I found to be quite suspect, and one of them was going out and looking to change the design of the characters in this creator story, which is a huge no-no in the business, because if you don't respect the creator's material and you don't want to, and you can't stay on model, that's a really huge red flag that this person really isn't one you want to work with, because usually an artist who is a professional is going to want to stay on model, and they're going to want to stay on model because this is all about them looking to build their professional reputation and wanting to build their brand so that they can get more commissions and more commission projects that will allow them to expand and get more opportunities for themselves in the business. So that was the first red flag that I saw as related to what the viewer told me about this artist. That was one that I found to be, again, really a really serious issue as related to creativity, because any creator who has character is going to, again, respect another creator's work by trying to stay on model as possible, and also go and look to talk to that creator as related to working on that project. That's the other thing that shows you me that this guy was a scammer, was he really wasn't good with communication, and that's something you really want to have with an artist, is good communication, so that you make sure that what you're writing in your script and your designs is going onto the pages that they're working on. Now, the other issue that this viewer had as related to this Nigerian individual who said he was an artist was he basically looked to try to change the agreement as related to the agreement to do the work, and looked to try to change it by looking to get more money out of the creator as related to their project. Now, they had agreed to a price on the artwork for this project, and as he was working on the project, this guy decided he wanted to go out here and add more fees onto that, and that's not how it goes in the business of publishing. No, in the business of publishing, once a artist and a publisher come to an agreement, that's the contract that they made. And again, in a contract, once you've agreed to those terms, you don't get to alter those terms. And if you do alter those terms, that is in and of itself considered to be a breach of contract. Now, when it comes to these agreements, a lot of times what you want to do is make sure you get everything in writing, and you want to make sure you get everything in writing, because this will be a document that you can go out here and say that these were the terms this individual agreed to, and since these are the terms that they agreed to, these are the terms that they have to follow, and if they don't want to follow those terms, then they don't get to take the project. Now, what happened to this viewer that led to them winding up getting scammed overall is not only this individual trying to change the agreement, but what they did was basically look for, in the way that they got paid, what they wanted to do was have them send him money straight to their bank account instead of PayPal. And when it comes to the business of making comics, what you want to do is make sure that the way you pay this individual protects your investment. And if anyone were to ask you to just send money straight to a bank account, that's a red flag in and of itself, because what you want to do is make sure that you have payment protection. And that's why I always suggest anybody who's working on a comic, make sure that you send this individual their money through PayPal so that you can have buyer protection and you can have protection of your assets as related to this business. Because again, this is a business transaction, and when you send money through PayPal with a note attached to it, or if you have a business account, you can invoice this to someone. You have a document that says that this is a business transaction, and this business transaction is something that you want to have a receipt for, not only for this transaction, but you also want to have it for your tax records, because this is a deductible business expense, and you want to make sure that this tax deductible business expense is documented with legitimate receipts so that you can protect yourself, and protect yourself not only with this business, but also make sure that there's a record for your taxes. So you really want to make sure you go and do any business transaction for commissioned art through PayPal so that you can have that protection. And if a person doesn't want to agree to go through PayPal, that's a real red flag, a red flag that tells you that this person isn't really serious about doing business and not really serious about looking to build their professional reputation as an artist. Now, there's been a trend as related to these so-called comic artists out here you really have to look out for. And one of the things you have to look out for is some of these artists basically rolling up on you in your direct messages on Facebook, rolling up on your friends list on Facebook, rolling up in your DMs on Instagram. I have had this happen to me as related to me talking about comic projects, and many of these people will come in talking about they are aspiring artists, and that's where you have to really vet these people to see who is who. Now, I always see it as a red flag if somebody is coming to me saying that they're an artist, because usually artists themselves are basically so busy on commissions or they're working on comic projects, they don't really need to solicit business. No, usually they basically, if they have any way to solicit business, they usually do it either on their own website or they have their own social media where they can go out here and post up pictures of their work. No, they don't need to run up on someone basically asking for work, because usually if you're a talented artist, the jobs will basically come to you. You'll have guys dropping emails in their query box basically asking you how much are your page rates, how much is it for a commission, and you'll basically have so much work. It isn't funny if your work is good. If your work is good, your name is gonna get out there and you're gonna have people in your DMs. You're gonna have lots of people in your DMs basically looking to hire you if you're really good. And when you see artists basically asking for work from just plain old strangers, that's a red flag, because even if there's, again, a slow period, people will go to places like Comic Artists Seeking Commissions, or Facebook group, or Connecting Comic Book Writers and Artists to get work. Again, they don't really need to go up and run up on individuals, and that's really a sign that these guys really are scammers, because again, quality artists don't need to run up on you and start asking for work. But when you're out here and you're looking for an artist, you really need to look at certain things. And again, it's a real turnoff for me when I have artists saying, oh, I need commissions. That's a red flag for me. And one of the things that I do in order to vet artists is to basically ask them to show me a portfolio of their work. And usually if you're a quality artist, you're going to have work on places like DeviantArt. You're going to have work on Facebook or Instagram, where people can look at your work and look at the quality of your work and see where you've got your commissions. People are going to be looking at your work and see a body of work and see how consistent it is. And that's what I notice whenever I'm working with artists. They'll either have one, their own official website with their work and ways to contact them. Two, they will have their work on social media where they will have recent work and be able to get lots of commissions. You'll see like maybe 60, 70 commissions over a period of time where that shows that they are working consistently and regularly and getting paid regularly. And three, you'll be able to talk to them and they'll be able to say, they'll all possibly tell you they take PayPal because this is how they make their money. So there's going to be, a structure as related to their business, and they're going to be acting in a professional manner. And again, part of being in a professional manner is they're going to tell you what their prices are up front. I mean, if you ask them what their page rate is, you're going to get a straight answer as related to their page rate. And if you ask for their commission rate, you're going to see a clear rate of commissions. So that's something you're going to see with them. With most artists, their prices aren't going to change, and their prices are going to be consistent as related to their work, and you're going to see their work is of high quality. Now, when I work with artists, again, the thing that I notice about them is, again, the page rates are extremely consistent as related to price. The commission prices are the same, but with scammers, when it comes to them and their commission rates, they start off trying to run a game from minute one. One of the things they try to do is come in at a low rate. Some of them will come in talking about $25 a page. Some of them talking about $50 a page. And they'll do this for the first maybe 2-3 commissions or so. Then they want to call themselves bumping up the price. That's a sign that you're not dealing with somebody who's legit. Because again, the rates for an artist who's working regularly, their rate is always the same. And their rate is going to be the same whether you do a commission or whether you do a whole book. And they're going to want to keep that rate consistent because they want to keep that customer happy and they want to be able to keep getting work. But a person who's a scammer, they're going to look to try to play games like trying to, again, lowball the project and then try to get you emotionally and personally attached. And then once they get you emotionally and personally attached, that's when they want to try to use your emotions as leverage and hope to try to extort more money out of you. That's something that they try to do, and that's what this viewer ran into. This is a classic scam that some fake comic artists go out here and do. I won't even call them real comic artists, because real comic artists, again, they are consistent in their pricing. I mean, I've been working with some artists for over a decade. The prices stay the same as related to their page rates and as related to their cover rates. I mean, I've worked with artists, and again, their rates don't change, whether it be here in America or globally. The price is gonna stay the same. And the thing that's really gonna that showed me that they're serious is not only that their prices are staying the same, is that they have really good communication. Now, one of the other things you want to look for in an artist that shows you they're legit is communication. I mean, good artists basically are talking to you every day. I remember when I was working on John Haynes at Death's Door, I was basically talking to Antonio Balderi almost every day on that project when we worked on it. And when I was working on A Steam No Good Deed, I was talking to Bill Walko regularly. And even when I'm working on Isis and Esteem covers, I talk to Bill Walko frequently, and I also talk to Mike Williams on the John Haynes series on those projects. I mean, good artists, you can give them the concept, but they're going to want to make sure that everything is clear because, again, this is not only your project, this is their reputation, and with it being their reputation, they need this project to be great in order for them to get more work, because your work basically is a publishing credit for them and basically something they can put in their portfolio to showcase how versatile their style is. Again, when you're a legitimate artist, you basically understand that your current job is going to get you your next job, and your last job is going to get you your next one. Again, this is how you get your gigs booked, and you want to make sure that you keep booking gigs with different people. And again, this is how you build up your reputation and your brand as an artist. This is how you build yourself up. But a scammer isn't looking to build themselves up. They're just looking to get a quick payday. And that's basically shown with the so-called art they put up. You'll notice that it's very rough. You'll notice that it's very sloppy. The compositions will be uneven. It won't be a very clear piece. I mean, there are some artists, their work is not very consistent, and again, not very good. But one of the ways you can basically see if somebody is halfway decent is basically, again, just commission a piece to see where their line work is, where their composition is, where their figures are. I mean, before you invest in doing a whole comic with someone, you basically want to get a sense if they can get a sense of the character or a sense of their style. That's one of the things I do sometimes as I go out here, and if I see an artist that I want to consider, I'll ask for one commission here or one commission there to see where their line work is and where their style is. And if their line work and their style work in the commission, maybe I will consider them for a project once I get my funds together. That's the thing that I look for. And again, this is something I recommend every artist, every comic creator do. Get a sense of of how they can draw your characters and commission one piece. And if they do it in one piece very well, then you can possibly consider them for a project. That's something that you need to do. Again, test them out to see if they're going to be able to one, be able to communicate effectively, be able to create work on a consistent basis, and produce work in a time that's reasonable as related to deadlines. You really want to see where their head's at as related to their art. And usually that basically runs off a lot of scammers, because a lot of scammers want to make fast money. And with them wanting to make fast money, what they want to do is get thousands real quick, because these pages, again, 22 pages at $100 is $2,200. Or if you've got a guy who's making like $150, again, 22 pages, that's a lot of money. And they want to make a lot of money real fast. And one of the ways you can short these guys out is by saying, okay, I just want to see if you can do this commission based on this. And if it works out here, we can then talk about possibly doing something else. And again, you want to make sure that you vet these guys, because again, vetting these scammers is something you have to do. And you really have to make sure that you are taking care of business, because this is your business. And with it being your business, you really want to make sure that you find an artist who's not only a good fit for you as related to the style of your story, but you want to find a person who is serious about business, because one of the worst things that could happen is you pay this person all this money, and this person basically just bolts and leaves you up Crab Creek without a paddle. Now, one of the things that some artists will do is they'll break it up into installments. Like I had with one artist, they basically wanted to do installments for a comic project I had, and they would do the project in installments. That ensured that they would get paid, and also that I would be able to finish the project and be able to save up the money to finish paying for the project. And it worked out very well, because I got a full comic that way. And again, if an artist really cares, they're going to really want to work with you, because they know, again, this is about their reputation and about them building their professional credits. So they know that there's something in it for them, but a scammer is just in it for fast money. But there's ways to vet these scammers, and I'll repeat them once more. One of the ways you vet these scammers is basically by going out and basically looking at their portfolio, and if they have a portfolio of poor stuff that already, you can reject them right there. And if they have a portfolio that isn't really available, that's another red flag. And if they basically are looking to change agreements, that basically is a red flag for you. Again, when you're working with a real artist, the contract is the contract. They know what the contract is. There's no more extra money. It is what it is. And again, they want that because they want to continue getting money. And another thing again you have to do is, again, make sure that this person is on board and understands that they have to stay on model. That's something you have to insist upon, because again, this person is working for you. And again, there has to be respectful communication of everything, and respectful communication of everything, that the only way that you're going to take payment is through PayPal, because you want that protection, and you also want that documentation for your records and your taxes for this business expense. And you really want to make sure that you have everything taken care of as related to the business side of things, when you're working with an artist, you really want to make sure that everything as related to your business is done, whether this person is from America or overseas, because with this being a PayPal transaction, PayPal is going to see it as a business transaction, and that needs to be clearly stated in all your documentation and even in the things that you put on PayPal, that this is a business transaction, and this is where you cover yourself. And again, if they won't take PayPal payments, then you really need to find someone else, because again, you need to take care of your business as related to putting together a comic. You need to take care of your business in putting together this comic, because this comic is a representation of you and how you do business. Now, this was a video requested by one of my viewers, and I hope it helps people learn how to avoid all of these scammers in the independent illustrator community, and I hope it helps you find the artist that will basically be an extremely good professional who will help you get your work done and make sure that you have a good business transaction where their art gets represented and you get exposure for your characters. I'm hoping that it helps you guys out and helps you be able to have a identified talent that can help you move your project over. Now, my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, is available on Amazon.com in digital format and on Lulu.com in paperback, and you can get a copy of that first full comic by clicking the link in the description box. And my first digital comic, Esteem No Good Deed, is available on Kindle for 99 cents, and the paper version of that story is available in the Esteem series book, Esteem Blast from the Past, and you can get that on Amazon.com along with John Haynes at Death's Door. And you can also pick up the books of the SJS Direct universe, such as the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, featuring work by many great comic artists. You can find all those books on Amazon.com featuring great comic art, because I put comic artists on my covers to pay tribute to the medium that basically taught me how to read and was a major part of my life. And this was my way of giving back to comics, just like this video is a way to help out people in the comic community. Now, if you want to help me be able to make be able to pay for covers on the next SJS Direct Universe book or upcoming SJS Direct graphic novels, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available on Lulu, John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes comic book. Get your copy of the first John Haynes comic at Lulu.com today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door takes on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess, featuring a bonus pin-up and the other 2 books in the Cyber Goddess saga at online bookstores everywhere today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.